السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ۔ ویلکم، خیر مقدم ہے آپ سب کا آج کے ہمارے قرآن کے تفسیر کے سیشن میں۔ انشاءاللہ ہمارا جو سلسلہ چل رہا ہے قرآن مجید کا، سورت نمبر 66 یعنی 66ویں سورت، سورہ تحریم ہم نے شروع کیا تھا اور اس کی 2 آیتیں ہم نے تلاوت کی تھی۔ آج انشاءاللہ اس کی اگلی آیت نمبر 3 پڑھ لیتے ہیں۔ تو سب سے پہلے اس آیت کی تلاوت کر لیتے ہیں، سورہ تحریم آیت نمبر 3۔ أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإذ أصر النبي إلى بعض أزواجه حديثا فلما نبأت به وأظهره الله عليه عرف بعده وأعرض عن بعد، فلما نبأها به قالت من أنبأك هذا، قال نبأني العليم الخبير۔ صدق اللہ العظیم۔ یہ تھی آیت نمبر 3۔ انشاءاللہ اس کا ٹرانسلیشن پڑھ لیتے ہیں۔ اور یہ معاملہ بھی قابل توجہ ہے کہ نبی نے ایک بات اپنی ایک بیوی سے راز میں کی تھی، پھر جب اس بیوی نے کسی اور پر وہ راز ظاہر کر دیا اور اللہ نے نبی کو اس افشائے راز کی اطلاع دے دی، تو نبی نے اس پر کسی حد تک اس بیوی کو خبردار کیا اور کسی حد تک اس سے درگزر کیا۔ پھر جب نبی نے اسے افشائے راز کی یہ بات بتائی تو اس نے پوچھا، آپ کو اس کی کس نے خبر دی؟ نبی نے کہا، مجھے اس نے خبر دی جو سب کچھ جانتا ہے اور خوب باخبر ہے۔ تو یہ تھا ٹرانسلیشن آج کی اس آیت کا۔ اس کی بیفور یعنی کہ اس کی تفسیر میں جانے سے قبل ہم تھوڑا سا ریکیپ کرتے ہیں کہ پچھلی 2 آیتوں میں ہم نے کیا پڑھا تھا، کیونکہ ہم جانتے ہیں کہ سورہ تحریم یہ وہ صورت ہے جس میں اللہ رب العزت نے نبی اکرم صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کو یعنی پہ نبی اکرم صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے ایک چیز اپنے اوپر حرام کر لی تھی جو اللہ نے حلال کی تھی، تو اس کی تحریم کے لیے اللہ تعالیٰ نے یعنی کہ جو حرمت کی گئی تھی اس کے لیے اللہ تعالیٰ نے نبی اکرم صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کو اس پر یہاں پہ یعنی کہ جو لغزش ہو گئی تھی اس کو تنبیہ کی، یعنی کہ ایسا نہ کہ وہ اپنے نبی کو یعنی کہ یہاں پہ ڈانٹ ڈپٹ نہیں، بلکہ کیونکہ نبی کی جو زندگی ہے، نبی کے اگر چھوٹے سے چھوٹا معاملات بھی ہے تو وہ اللہ کے ہاں یعنی کہ کیونکہ نبی جو ہوتے ہیں لوگوں کے لیے مشعل راہ ہوتے ہیں، لوگوں کے لیے رول ماڈل ہوتے ہیں، آئیڈیل ہوتے ہیں، اور اللہ کے رسول ہونے کی وجہ سے ان کا ذکر کتابوں میں اللہ کی کتابوں میں آتا ہے، اس لیے اللہ تعالیٰ نے یہاں پہ نبی کی زندگی کو کھول کھول کر بیان کیا، یعنی اگر چھوٹی سی لغزش بھی ہو گئی تو اللہ تعالیٰ نے نہ صرف نبی اکرم صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کو اس سے خبردار کیا بلکہ اس کو اپنی کتاب میں بھی بتا دیا تاکہ لوگ اس کو نہ دہرائیں۔ تو یہاں پہ ہم دیکھ رہے تھے کہ کس طرح سے مختلف احادیث میں ہم نے کس بارے میں اللہ کے نبی نے کی تھی، تو ہمارے سامنے 2 واقعات آئے تھے، لیکن زیادہ آتھینٹک یعنی کہ احادیث جو ملی ہیں وہ یہی تھیں کہ نبی اکرم صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے کہ شہد کے تعلق سے حضرت ماریہ رضی اللہ تعالیٰ کے پاس وہ زیادہ یعنی زینب رضی اللہ عنہ کے پاس وہ شہد رہتا تھا، شہد ہوتا تھا، تو نبی اکرم صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم اپنا وقت تھوڑا سا زیادہ وہاں بتاتے تھے، تو یہ بات دوسرے ازواج کو تھوڑا سا شاک گزری، یعنی تھوڑا سا ان کو اس پر یعنی کہ تکلیف ہوتی تھی، تو انہوں نے ایک پلان بنایا تھا اور نبی اکرم صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کو ایک پھول کی بو اس پاس آتی تھی، یعنی کس طرح کی بات کی رہی تھی، تو اس سے نبی اکرم صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کیونکہ پاکیزہ پسند تھے، نفاست پسند تھے، نبی اکرم صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے قسم کھا لی تھی کہ میں آئندہ شہد کو ہاتھ نہ لگاؤں، تو اس پر اللہ تعالیٰ نے یہ آیتیں نازل کی تھیں۔ اور پھر آج یعنی ازواج کے ساتھ جو نبی اکرم صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے بات کی تھی اس کے بارے میں ایک زوجہ نے جو راز کی بات تھی نبی اکرم صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کی انہوں نے افشا کی تھی، تو اس کے بارے میں بیان ہوا ہے۔ تو انشاءاللہ آج کی اس آیت کی تفسیر پڑھ لیتے ہیں۔ اور یہ معاملہ بھی قابل توجہ ہے کہ نبی نے ایک بات اپنی ایک بیوی سے راز میں کی تھی، پھر جب اس بیوی نے کسی اور پر وہ راز ظاہر کر دیا اور اللہ نے نبی کو اس افشائے راز کی اطلاع دے دی، تو نبی نے اس پر کسی حد تک اس بیوی کو خبردار کیا اور کس حد تک اس سے درگزر کیا۔ پھر جب نبی نے اسے افشائے راز کی یہ بات بتائی تو اس نے پوچھا، آپ کو اس کی کس نے خبر دی؟ نبی نے کہا مجھے اس نے خبر دی جو سب کچھ جانتا ہے اور خوب باخبر ہے۔ مختلف روایت میں مختلف باتوں کے متعلق یہ بیان کیا گیا ہے کہ فلاں بات تھی جو حضور صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے اپنی ایک بیوی سے راز میں کہی تھی اور ان کی بیوی نے ایک دوسری بیوی سے اس کا ذکر کر دیا، لیکن ہمارے نزدیک اول تو اس کا کھوج لگانا صحیح نہیں ہے، کیونکہ راز کے افشا کرنے پر ہی تو اللہ تعالیٰ یہاں ایک بیوی کو ٹوک رہا ہے، پھر ہمارے لیے کیسے صحیح ہو سکتا ہے کہ ہم اس کی ٹٹول کریں اور اسے کھولنے کی فکر میں لگ جائیں؟ دوسرے، جس مقصد کے لیے یہ آیت نازل ہوئی ہے اس کے لحاظ سے یہ سوال سرے سے کوئی اہمیت نہیں رکھتا کہ وہ راز کی بات ہی کیا۔ مقصود کلام سے اس کا کوئی تعلق ہوتا تو اللہ تعالیٰ اسے خود بیان فرما دیتا۔ اصل غرض جس کے لیے اس معاملے کو قرآن مجید میں بیان کیا گیا ہے، ازواج مطہرات میں سے ایک کو اس کی غلطی پر ٹوکنا ہے کہ ان کے عظیم المرتبہ شوہر نے جو بات راز میں ان سے فرمائی تھی اسے انہوں نے راز نہ رکھا اور اس کا افشا کر دیا۔ یہ محض ایک نجی معاملہ ہوتا جیسا دنیا کے عام میاں اور بیوی کے درمیان ہوا کرتا ہے، تو اس کی کوئی ضرورت نہ تھی کہ اللہ تعالیٰ براہ راست وحی کے ذریعے سے حضور صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم اور پھر محض خبر دینے ہی پر اکتفا نہ کرتا، بلکہ اسے اپنی اس کتاب میں درج کر دیتا جسے ہمیشہ ہمیشہ کے لیے ساری دنیا کو پڑھنا ہے۔ لیکن اسے یہ اہمیت جس وجہ سے دی گئی وہ یہ تھی کہ وہ بیوی کسی معمولی شوہر کی نہ تھیں، بلکہ اس عظیم ہستی کی بیوی تھیں جسے اللہ تعالیٰ نے انتہائی اہم ذمہ داری کے منصب پر مامور فرمایا تھا، جسے ہر وقت کفار و مشرکین اور منافقین کے ساتھ ایک مسلسل جہاد سے سابقہ درپیش تھا، جس کی قیادت میں کفر کی جگہ اسلام کا نظام برپا کرنے کے لیے ایک زبردست جدوجہد ہو رہی تھی۔ ایسی ہستی کے گھر میں بے شمار ایسی باتیں ہو سکتی تھیں جو اگر روزانہ رہتی اور قبل از وقت ظاہر ہو جاتی تو اس کار عظیم کو نقصان پہنچ سکتا تھا جو وہ ہستی انجام دے رہی تھی۔ اس لیے جب اس گھر کی ایک خاتون سے پہلے مرتبہ یہ کمزوری صادر ہوئی کہ اس نے ایک ایسی بات کو جو راز میں اس سے کہی گئی تھی کسی اور پر ظاہر کر دیا، اگرچہ وہ کوئی غیر نہ تھا بلکہ اپنے ہی گھر کا ایک فرد تھا، تو اس پر فوراً ٹوک دیا گیا اور در پردہ نہیں بلکہ قرآن مجید میں برملا ٹوکا گیا، تاکہ نہ صرف ازواج مطہرات کو بلکہ مسلم معاشرے کے تمام ذمہ دار لوگوں کی بیویوں کو رازوں کی حفاظت پہ تربیت دی جائے۔ آیت میں اس سوال کو قطعی نظر انداز کر دیا گیا ہے کہ جس راز کی بات کو افشا کیا گیا تھا وہ کوئی خاص اہمیت رکھتی تھی یا نہیں، اور اس کے افشا سے کسی نقصان کا خطرہ تھا یا نہیں۔ گرفت بجائے خود اس امر پر کی گئی ہے کہ راز کی بات کو دوسرے سے بیان کر دیا گیا، اس لیے کہ کسی ذمہ دار ہستی کے گھر والوں میں اگر یہ کمزوری موجود ہو کہ وہ رازوں کی حفاظت میں تساہل برتیں تو آج ایک غیر اہم راز افشا ہوا ہے، کل کوئی اہم راز افشا ہو سکتا ہے۔ جس شخص کا منصب معاشرے میں جتنا زیادہ ذمہ دارانہ ہوگا اتنے ہی زیادہ اہم اور نازک معاملات اس کے گھر والوں کے علم آئیں گے۔ ان کے ذریعے سے راز کی باتیں دوسروں تک پہنچ جائیں تو کسی اور بھی یہ کمزوری کسی بڑے خطرے کی موجب بن سکتی ہے۔ تو یہ تھی تفسیر آج کی اس آیت کی۔ تو انشاءاللہ یہ جو سلسلہ کلام ہے اللہ تعالیٰ کی طرف سے احکامات جو بیان کیے گئے ہیں وہ جاری رہے گا آنے والے سیشن میں۔ جزاک اللہ خیر۔ السلام علیکم۔
السلام علیکم نظام بھائی، کیسے ہیں؟ ٹھیک ہے؟
الحمد للہ، آپ سنائیں۔
الحمد للہ، اللہ کا شکر ہے۔ تھینک یو ویری مچ، انشاءاللہ پھر نیکسٹ
جزاک
ویک۔
اللہ، انشاءاللہ جزاک اللہ۔ السلام علیکم
وعلیکم،
ورحمۃ اللہ
thank
وبرکاتہ۔
you. Waalaikum salam. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to our evening shows. And sorry we started a little bit late today, but I hope you have been doing well throughout the week, and you're enjoying this very special weekend of football. And hopefully you're looking forward to the Europe final tomorrow, and hopefully we get to see a good game more than anything else. And it would be great if we get to win. And as it's always said, it comes home after so many years. So uh, yeah, that's something to look forward to over this weekend, and hope everybody get to enjoy that. Now today we have one of our special guests joining today, and just a brief introduction. He's the representative. He's the leader of the Scouts in the Hayes and surrounding areas, and he has very kindly agreed to join us and speak to us and share some information about the Scouts and their activities in our locality. So, without any delay, I'll get Mr. John Walls, just online. Let's do this.
Hi,
Hi,
good
John.
evening.
Good evening. How are you doing?
Be here. Nice to be here. I'm very good, thank you. And you?
Excellent. Thank you. A pleasure to have you. Thank you again very much for taking some time. And it's great to have some diverse people joining us and sharing much about what they do and how actually and as the local residents we can become part of so many things. So if you can just as a brief introduction, tell us about yourself, your activities, your background, and just so we get to know.
Yes, of course. Well, I've been working and living in Hillingdon for 36 years. I moved originally from the northeast of England, and I love Hillingdon. I managed to, although lots of my colleagues have moved around everywhere, I managed to stick to Hillingdon, and I've worked and lived in Hillingdon for a long time. And as part of my work, I got quite involved with the local community in Harlington, and I had a history of scouting. So I got involved with the Scouts many years ago. In fact, I've been a Scout leader at First Harlington for 32 years, since 1989. Yeah, and I've had an immense amount of pleasure from working with the young people in our area, and I've obviously given a lot of my time to it, and I love it. I think it's a really worthwhile thing to do, to be involved in scouting. But I started it as a boy, and I got a lot out of it, and I didn't want that adventure to end, really. So I kept on doing it as a grown-up, and here I am, still doing it.
Oh, wonderful! Yeah. Wow.
Would you like me to tell you a little bit about the group and a little bit about the history of scouting? I don't know. So I'll if I can share my screen.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not very technical, unfortunately, and I'm not used to doing these sorts of presentations.
That's all right.
Give it a go.
We'll get to know every day. Right. Okay.
So, can you see that?
I will add it to the live stream. Hopefully, it's coming up soon.
Right. Well. What I'll do is I'll tell you a little bit about a background and history of First Harlington Scouts, tell you about the aims and the ethos of the Scout Association, outline the structure, and tell you a little bit about how it works. I won't go into too much detail, obviously, but I'll give you some of the details.
That's fine.
All began with this guy here, Lord Robert Stevenson Smythe Baden-Powell, who was a soldier, and as an old soldier, when he was 50, he developed some ideas about the best way to encourage young people to develop in a way that would enable them to take a constructive part in our community, in our society. So in 1907, he had his first experimental scout camp. On the 1st of August, he took 20 boys camping on Brownsea Island, and that was a revolutionary moment because they had a great time, and word quickly spread. He published Scouting for Boys, which is a very famous book, and it was serialized to start off with weekly, and it's now sold over 100 million copies. And in that book is everything about the ethos of scouting and lots of fun and adventure. In the space of 2 years, in this country, it had grown to 100,000 scouts. And in the obviously in the decade since, it's now 25 million members worldwide.
Wow.
So it is truly a worldwide organization. So Scouting strives to meet the needs of the young people that we serve, and plays a part in uniting people around the world. So it's got a huge part to play, really. And this is the backbone of what we stand for, I suppose, is our promise. Now, the There are faith-specific promises as well to cater for all faiths, but this is the generic one that we tend to use an awful lot. But it's a promise to do your best, because it's asking an awful lot. And when it mentions the law, these are the laws that the Scout Association is prescribed to. There's a lot to live up to, but it's a sort of framework for Scouts to build strong and healthy relationships and fulfill our aim of helping our young people develop physically, intellectually, and spiritually. So, let's have a look. I've got a little video YouTube clip, if it will play.
Right, let's go for it.
So tell me, when one thinks of scouting, what comes to mind? Boys, knots, bobber job, tents, woggles, something about dibs and dobs. Well, think again.
It might be in a different window, so we are unable to see that.
You can't see it now?
No, I think it's maybe like a different window. So
there are 500,000
Oh, right.
scouts.
Okay, I'm sorry if we lost that, but that I'll go back to the. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm not, as I said, I'm not technical, but well, let's have a look. See if I can. I'll share screen again and go back to that presentation. There's just a few more bits, and I've got some photos as well. I think Shams asked me to show me some photos of kids doing the activities to give you an idea of the sort of things we get up to. Hopefully that will play in the window.
Yeah, let's hope for it, and yeah, that should be. I mean, in the meantime, okay, I think it's coming up.
Yeah.
Let's add that back.
So, first Harlington Scouts, which is where I'm from, started in the village in 1932. We're actually called Shackle's Own because there's a local landowner. It's a local family who owned apple orchard and brick fields in the area. And a young man associated with that family, whose name was Shackle, started meeting with a group of other young boys in Harlington and calling themselves Scouts. It wasn't official, but in 1932 they found themselves an adult leader and started meeting officially. In 1934, the Shackle family actually gave us the hall, so we own the hall and grounds. And so we've been around for the last 90th anniversary next year. We've been serving the community in Harlington, and obviously there's been an awful lot of people go through the door. So well, the way it works is obviously we have different age groups and age appropriate activities for the young people to take part in. The emphasis with the younger group, beavers 6 to 8 years, is fun and friends. And they do a lot of running around, screaming and letting off steam, and then they sit down and do creative activities, gluing and sticking and making things. And then as they move up through the age groups, they progress onto more age appropriate and slightly more adventurous things. So when they get to even beavers can go away camping now on residentials, and they can even camp under campus. And it's a minimum requirement that they are offered the opportunity to camp at least one night under canvas every year. But by the time they get to the Scouts in the 10 to 14 years, then they can get away much more regularly and get on and do much more adventurous things. As far as the explorers and the young leaders, they go off by themselves, the Explorer Scouts, and to take part in expeditions and activities connected with the Duke of Edinburgh Award and gaining of their highest Scout Award, such as the Queen Scout Award. And we've had relative success in recent years in doing those sorts of things. So we've had lots of young people go off on canoeing expeditions and walking expeditions to places like the Alps and the Ardèche in the south of France, and obviously doing the practice for that on rivers in this country like the River Wye. There's a lot of emphasis on canoeing in our group, but we do other activities as well, rock climbing and hill walking, as well as a whole range of other sort of scouting activities, shooting, archery, that sort of thing.
Wow.
But I've put together a little slideshow which will give you some idea. I just really hope it's going to play in the screen. So I'll do my best to find it first of all.
All right. Yeah, I mean, in the meantime, like,
Yeah.
I think it's what really what I understand is the Scouts is basically utilizing all that energy with the young people have, and using it for something very positive in the local community, and
Definitely.
it's like we come across many different like youth, like they are energetic, they are very passionate, but they're not really, they don't have a right direction, or they're not told like how can they really make use of it. So I think that's really the aim of the Scouts, isn't it? That that show them the right direction, so some sort of like put them in, like, just give them some discipline to use that energy. And
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, we are a uniformed youth organisation, which sets us apart from things like youth clubs that run Duke of Edinburgh. And we have a code and we have rules, and we don't do like marching drill like the army, but we do teach them to stand still, be quiet, and respect certain times and ceremonies, which are important. And it just instills a little bit of discipline and respect.
Yeah.
And they must respect themselves and respect others. That is very, very high on our agenda, really. Let's see if this thing works, because it would be great if you could see it.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Is that there?
I'm just adding it to the stream. Oh yeah, that's wonderful. Perfect.
What's in your hand? You bend down to elevating me, flickering screen. Nothing is compromised.
Sorry, John. I think there is still some issue. We can see the canoeing on the very first one. They're still showing that one picture.
It's just showing one picture. It's not showing the slideshow, no?
It's just one picture. I think the very first one. It's and it's just So.
Well, I mean, does it change now? The thing is that it's pointless playing it if it's not going to work.
I think maybe you can just, if you don't mind, do it manually.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you got that one up? The two girls.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's on the River Wye. That's a human pyramid with the older boys, and that's a human pyramid with the younger boys. A lot of these photographs I've had to take, they're quite dated, so that most of the kids in these photographs are going to be over 18 now. As of that time to get that's the hall and grounds from the outside. And an awful lot of work there over the years, but it still needs an awful lot of work. Still got a lot to do. That's in North Wales, summer camp trip. All the boats and the equipment there all belong either to us or to the district.
Okay.
That's jumping off a place called Elephant Rock in North Wales. I don't think too many kids did that day. This is a trip up a mountain called Craggiegarn, where we sleep out in bivvy bags overnight. You'll see that's Black Rock Sands in North Wales. Most of these, the highlight of the scouting year is summer camp.
God.
We go away camping for at least a week, and in this case, it was 2 weeks in a field in North Wales. That's on the top of Craigiegarn, with the Snowdon Mountains in the background. We were on the top of the mountain overnight, so we took a picture of the sunset.
Oh,
and that's them first thing in the morning, sleeping in bivvy bags, which would be like huge plastic bags, just to protect them from the dew.
yeah. Oh.
And that's them walking back down. There's a few little pretty animals in the fields. That's climbing up a mountain in Wales. Again, there's quite a few. I've been a mountaineering going on here.
Oh, that's just part of it.
Yeah. That boy is he was special needs. He had ADHD, and he was swearing all the way up, but he loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Oh wow!
That young man Stanley who's taken it all in. He's quite a character. He's actually a young leader now.
Oh, great! Ooh.
And that's canoeing on the River Wye. That's Sam, who likes to show off a lot. So he's doing a somersault into the water. And this is a Duke of Edinburgh Gold practice expedition. So they're practicing for their actual expedition, but so they take these lightweight tents and they pack them in the canoes and they travel down the river. Okay. And this is just like a session in the hall doing some badge work. And you can see in the background there's a climbing wall there. And we've got that all. This is just an teamwork coming off the water with the expedition. That's us trying sailing. So we rafted the boats together and doing a bit of sailing. This is the only photo I could find appropriate for climbing, but we do a bit of rock climbing as well. That the lady there featured there, she was our scout leader, Becky, but she's now working in Bangkok.
Okay.
That's a picture on the again up in the mountains. Canicht is the name of that mountain. I might have a picture of it in a minute. This is our old cub leader Sam working with the kids in the back of the scout hall. And that's a young man being presented with his Duke of Edinburgh Silver Award by the district commission.
Great.
Yeah, this is the Cubs litter picking on Harlington Village Green.
Okay, good.
And this is a little trip on the River Thames, where we camp on an island in the middle of the River Thames. It's quite beautiful. And that's again a Duke of Edinburgh hiking expedition. Cooking on that hiking expedition.
Wow, best part.
The Cubs piling barrel stacking, more canoeing. But there's lots of canoeing. That is a rope swing on a campsite in North Wales. We're getting there. And that's the campsite with the. You can see the tent there with the sleeping bags over the top. That's where they sleep. They roll the walls down at night time, obviously, and you've got the canoe trailer there, and that's right next to a river. It's a beautiful location in North Wales, and that's jumping off a rock into a plunge pool just in the river by the campsite, right next to the campsite.
Excellent.
And there's the site again. That's Chalfont, and that's a Star of David gate. So it spins as you go through it. It's made out of canes and rope, but the kids made that. So they are. Wow. So they're tying the canes together in the Star of David to make the rotating gate. That's the dining shelter propped up, and that's a patrol camp. So it'll be a group of 6 scouts would camp in a big tent, and that's their cooking area in front. Again, that was taken locally, I think, at Chalfont. There's a young Stanley chopping some wood, and here he is again walking the plank. That's we sometimes go on narrowboat trips on the Grand Union as well, just on Grand Union Canal, just for a weekend's holiday, and we teach them to steer the boat, how to pump the toilet out, fill the diesel up, and all of that sort of thing. And they do their steersman's badge over the weekend. That's a group of four young boys from Harlington who completed their Gold Duke of Edinburgh expedition down the River Ardèche canoeing in 2015. The boy on the left there, Matthew Lennox, he actually got his gold. He was awarded it in 2018. There's another group of 5 who did their Duke of Edinburgh Gold expedition walking around Cirque de Mont Blanc in the Alps. That was quite a grueling expedition, but again, they loved it. And they've all gone on to do wonderful things with their lives.
Wow.
Kids, these are just kids splashing on the Grand Union Canal, and that's us playing cricket in the local park. So that's that really, just as an idea of some of the activities we get up to.
Oh wow. I mean, like, to be honest, just by looking at it, I want to be, part of it.
Yeah.
Become young again.
Yeah,
Wow.
it is. That's why I've never left. That's why I've never given up, really, because it is such good fun.
Definitely.
Yeah. However, since COVID, we've been conducting meetings online, and they've been moderately successful. But as you can see, I'm not very tech orientated, and our scout leader, who was running them, went off to Bangkok, so I was left doing it. And but it was okay. It was okay. But now, thankfully, we're back to face-to-face meetings again, and planning for our future adventures.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, like, to be honest, like it's very much like, just like the army. It's you get all the experiences, that you would only expect either, being part of the army or something like that. So it's again, I think and also I think when you are young, you have that, very strong pride in the army as well. And obviously, not everybody wants to join the army. I think this is something which provides that option of, like you said, all the discipline. Even you get the uniforms as well. So
it's surprising. I can't think of. I can only think of two in 32 years. I can only think of two young people have come through the group and actually gone on to join the army that I know of. One or two have become police officers. One or two have joined the army, but generally they've gone on to and to do other things. What we do find is that the older kids will go off to university and then leave the area and don't come back. So they get up and go. We give them a bit of get up and go, and they get up and go. So we're now we're in a situation now where we're really struggling for leaders, because there's not many people out there who are willing to give up their time, because Scouting is a charitable organisation, and the leaders are not paid. They can in some circumstances get expenses, but it's difficult in this climate to find people who are willing to give up their time purely for the love of it, really. We're struggling a little bit. And also, sometimes we've been the leadership team is very white. There's an awful lot of white people in the leadership team. But the kids are very diverse, and every now and again we get someone from an ethnic community who wants to come and get involved as a leader, and we grab them with both hands, because I'll tell you what, that's what we really need. Is to be fully representative throughout the group of our community, which unfortunately we're not at the moment. We've gone from one year. I came back from a Christmas break, and I only had, it was the first meeting back, so if I had 12 kids turn up, 10 of them were Polish. And I'm thinking we could be first Harlington Polish Scouts. It was bonkers. So we go in sort of around in circles, really. So sometimes we have lots of Polish kids is a fantastic example, and now we only have 2 in the group, but we have lots of other community kids from lots of other communities. But it's great. It makes it really interesting. We also have a habit of attracting people with disabilities as well, and working with people, especially with behavioural disabilities, which is again something for volunteers like us to work with, is something very challenging. But we embrace it, and we try our best, try and do our best for them. Yeah. But I think the kids get a lot out of it. And I hope that there are some young people out there, or definitely some parents perhaps, who might be encouraged, want to encourage their kids to get involved. Or even some adults out there who might want to get involved themselves. Definitely. It is fun.
That's the whole point, because like you said, it's a sad thing, really, that mostly the ethnic communities, they don't get involved in these sort of things. They have way other sort of mostly they get cricket lessons, football lessons, all those sort of things. but they don't really come to the scouting. And I think that's really, because like you said, it's not about just your physical strength or your discipline. It's the experiences that you have just shown in the pictures.
Yes.
It certainly teaches you so many things, to learn. And as a mental growth, that's really important.
To take a young person out of the environment they live in West London and take them out into the wilds of North Wales, and expose them to that beauty and also ruggedness and savageness the weather can be, but to expose them to that is an incredible thing, and they gain an awful lot from that experience.
Of course, yeah.
They gain an awful lot.
It's and again, like, if you are with other people of your same age, or the others who are accompanying you, then it's you get to learn from other people as well. It's not just the experience or the weather or other things, but it's like literally, like you said, knowing how to sail the boat or pump the toilet. Like who would know these things?
Yeah. I think it teaches young people to think outside the box. Like when we're living in a wood, and we give them a task to build a washing up stand, which incorporates a bowl and a woven draining board and a plate rack that they can slot the plates into. So we'll draw diagrams, give them the materials, and get them on doing it, building it. And it encourages them to work through the problem, think outside the box, and develop these. Although those skills may appear abstract, they do. The same methodology applies in many different circumstances, which come in useful when you're doing a bit of DIY. Having a bit of process in how you think and approach a problem is very useful, and scouts get a lot of that, and also cooking as well, because they cook for themselves and they wash up for themselves. And the amount of young people I know who actually had their first cooking experience in the Scouts, and learned, the consequences of burning your food or not putting any salt in it, or what I mean. So they learn these skills again, which is fantastic. And when they fly the nest and go to university, at least they know how to, make some.
At least cooking.
Yeah.
Wow. So, I mean, John, what are your current activities planned in obviously Harlington and Hayes?
Well, I would encourage anybody who feels like they'd like to get involved to go on the Scout website. Obviously, you just Google it, but it's scouts.org.uk, and there's a link to local groups there, so you can track down the group that's local to you and get involved should you choose to do so. At First Harlington, as I said, we're really struggling for leaders at the moment. Over COVID, we lost each section has its own leader. Cubs, Beavers, Scouts. As for the Explorers, they're mixed among the other groups as young leaders at the moment, so they don't meet separately. But each section should have a leader. And out of the 3 sections that we operate, Beavers, Cubs and Scouts, we've only got one. We've got a Beaver leader, because the other 2 leaders have left, and we don't have people ready to step in. So what we've decided to do is meet once a fortnight on a Saturday morning for 3 hours. And occasionally we spread that to a whole day activity. A couple of weeks ago, we did a whole day activity, say from 9 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. And the young people split into 2 groups. One group went walking, one group went canoeing. And at lunchtime, they met away from the hall and swapped over. And then one group walked back to the hall and the other group carried on canoeing. So that was a whole day activity. But generally, we'll meet 3 hours on a Saturday at the hall, and that's the Cubs and the Scouts together. So that's where we are at the moment. In September, who knows? We're just reacting to the. I think Scouting has because it continued through lockdown, and there was a lot of online activity, and people are beginning to appreciate the outdoors. And have taken a slightly different look at their lives. There is an increased of interest in the Scouts about getting out, doing something alternative and doing something different. So I'm hoping that it's going to be a really positive time moving forward as we come out of the restrictions, and more young people get involved in Scouts, and it's a positive thing for spreading friendship. It says where a Scout is a brother, a member, a brother to all Scouts, or a member of the worldwide Scouts. So hopefully it's going to get lots of people involved and connect people, all over the country, all over the world.
Great.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, obviously you have the different age groups for the kids. So the joining process is just get in touch and start coming to the
there is I say that on the Scout website there's a link there to your local group. I mean if you are local to Hayes, then I don't mind you passing on my details, and I can connect you with a local group, or invite you down to our group. More than welcome. Of course, you're more than welcome. If you could pass on my details, but I don't know what their score is with putting phone numbers on the internet.
Oh no, yeah, don't want that.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. I mean, because I think that's what my dad, he was telling us that he had obviously discussion with you, and you told him how you need more people literally, and that's the whole point
Yes.
of why we wanted you to come on our program and just tell about the different things about Scouts.
Yeah,
And hopefully we it just turns out to be something productive, and we hope.
I really hope it does. I really hope it does.
Yeah, definitely.
In Harlington exists, that hall is a fantastic facility. It's been devoted to young people since 1934. And we've kept it running. We have no budget. We don't get any grants or anything like that. We kept that all running and up to date, and it's purely there for the young people of Harlington, and it is a community resource. And the facilities are there. There's the climbing equipment, the canoes, and an element of expertise in how to use all of that gear. But what we do need is just more people, really. We need adult help. I mean, as either an assistant leader or leader in one of the sections, or even on the committee, helping on the committee to keep the hall running, that sort of thing. We need adult help, and we'd again, as many kids as you can throw at us, really. We don't have a waiting list. You go outside London, our groups tend to have a waiting list, but inside London, for some reason, scouting is suffering just a little bit, and it's a lot to do with communication. Really, communication with people, the people who actually live here, and have got kids the right age or want to get involved. And I think that this is hopefully going to help with that. Yeah.
No, certainly. Like, to be honest, we really hope you continue doing what you're doing, and somehow we can find people for you, and just this whole this experience that you provide for the young people. You can create more nicely disciplined and directed people in the community, because to be honest, that's like you said, it's the environment on the streets these days is something really the kids they need to be taken off and shown how to really
they do need something outside school. I mean, school is somewhere that they have to be, and and they're there to do a job. They're learning. Scouts, you go to Scouts because you choose to be there, and you choose to subject yourself to that, to the discipline, and to the teamwork, and and working together. You choose to be there doing that, and that's something that brings them all together. And you find that young people that have been involved in Scouting, and I've got experience of this from all different backgrounds, have stayed in touch with each other and are still having adventures together as adults, and are still the best of friends. and I'm still very, very friendly with a lot of the young people who've come through my group. I get invited to so many weddings every year. It's fantastic. We get the young people that have come through and have gone on to have their own, getting married, having their own kids now. But they're still friends with the people who they were with in Scouts, and they're still having adventures with them. And there's a little candidate in the background there.
Yeah, 2 of them.
Yeah, 2 of them. Yeah. Wow, fantastic.
Great, perfect. Thank you so much, John. Pleasure, and again, much appreciate taking your time out. And we agreed 15 minutes, but we have really enjoyed. I hope it hasn't cost you much.
No. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Pleasure.
All
Take
right.
care. We'll get in touch.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Perfect. Right. So thank you, everyone. Inshallah, we will be back next week, and hopefully we get to join in some of the activities. So thank you so much. Take care, inshallah. We'll be back next week. Assalamu alaikum.